So imagine this. You are a sophomore in high school. You've just spent your freshman year really just doing an amazing job out on the basketball court. You're a starter. You've done all the things. You've gone all the practices. You're a great teammate. And now, sophomore year, you're getting ready for practice. Your chest feels tight. It's not because you're sick, you're tired. It's because of this new player on the team. So there's a new freshman on the team. They're really talented, confident, fast. The coaches are already talking about them, and you start to doubt yourself. What if I'm not good enough? What if I lose my spot? What if everyone notices they're better than me? You feel yourself shrinking and you show up, but you don't play like yourself. You second guess every move, you make silly mistakes, and you just stop having fun. And every night you tell yourself, tomorrow I'll show up different. I got this. This isn't bothering me. But every day you let that fear take over. And eventually, what do you think happens? So, for those of you out there that, want to guess what happens in the rest of the story, or what you think this person should do next. You know, think about that for a minute. But frankly, this was a story about me. And this was me as a basketball player in high school. And guess what I did? I quit. Halfway through sophomore year, I told my coach I was overwhelmed. I was had a big, emotional discussion with my parents, and I told them it was too much. And it was. I was overwhelmed. And I didn't know what I was going through. I didn't know how to handle these big emotions that were coming up. I didn't know, how to be a true teammate without being competitive against my other teammates or being jealous of their skills. And that wasn't the way to handle it. And at first it felt like a relief, like, oh, okay, I don't have to, handle this anymore. The pressure was released. And, over time, I realized I didn't just walk away from the sport of basketball. I didn't believe in myself and I walked away from myself. And that's not something I realized till much later in life. I learned not to compare myself to others. I learned how I didn't learn how to grow in that situation. I didn't learn how to be confident. And because I didn't face that insecurity and that challenge, it followed me into sports, into school, into life as an adult. And confidence is really built by showing up when you're scared, by staying in the game when it's would be easier to walk away. And I wish I stayed. I have regrets around this. Have I let that go as an adult? Yes. And there's also like, well, what if I stayed? I wish I learned from this other player. I wish we were friends, but I wish I truly befriended this person. And, she could have just helped me make my skills that much better versus me shrinking and disappearing. I wish I believe in myself enough to keep playing. So this was a big lesson for me as a high school student. Um, and really, there's two ways that we can live. We can choose to be comfortable or we can choose to grow. And staying comfortable is what I did in that situation. I didn't push through those feelings. I tried with the skills that I had. And frankly, I didn't have the skills to overcome those big emotions. So, in hindsight, when I look back, I can't knock myself for the choice that I made because that was the only way that I could see relief in the situation. I didn't have the emotional intelligence skills to handle that. And when you're feeling, for the athletes out there, when you're feeling nervous before a game, when the coach gives you a signal and you're rounding third base and you're not sure if you're ready, you can shrink and you can stay in your comfort zone, or you really can step into the growth zone. And the thing about it is it's going to feel really uncomfortable. It's scary. It's but this is where resiliency is built. When you become the stronger, better, more well-adjusted version of yourself, it's built in those pressure situations. And it doesn't come from everything going absolutely right. It comes from facing something that seems impossible and showing up anyway. And when you feel this pressure before, say, a tournament or a big game, um, you have to kind of remind yourself that discomfort is part of being great. All the major league baseball players and the, college players out there, really like they're not having a good day every day, but they're pushing through that discomfort and they're in that growth zone. And confidence really isn't the absence of fear. It's a choice of going on regardless of the fear existing. So really, let's say your biggest fear right now is, if you're going to play well in a game. You pick the sport, soccer, basketball, lacrosse, whatever it is, but it might feel like impossible right now that you're going to do good in your next game or your next tournament. And you've put the work in, you've gone to all the practices, you have the skills, but you're kind of getting in your head and you're thinking like, what if I make an error? What if I let the team down? What you want is to play this perfect game and score all the points or catch all the balls. And it seems impossible because you're getting in your own head. So what you have to really do is start to focus on what's most possible. So is it most possible for you to take a deep breath before you have an at bat? Is it most possible for you to hustle? Is it most possible for you to cheer on the sidelines? Is it most possible for you to stay focused during the warm up? Those things may seem like small things, but the more you do those most possible things, then the less possible things occur. You drive in the winning home run, you score, the game tie-breaking goal. You stay confident even though you did make an error on a certain play. And doing your best really doesn't mean that you're perfect. It means controlling your attitude, controlling your effort, your focus, and your response. So the next time you're about to have a big game, or just a regular game for that matter, but you're about to go on the court or go on the field, what's one thing you can think of that you can control during this game that brings you closer to your best? So you're not going to be perfect. No one is. But what's the one thing you can control? I can control my attitude. I can control my focus. I'm going to think, I can do it. I'm going to remember all the times that I made great plays. So focusing on those things, doing the most possible things will then bring about the less possible things to occur. And before you know it, you've had a great game. And I wanted to share with parents too, though, this is the journey that parents are on as well. So what feels impossible for your child on the field or on the court often mirrors what parents feel impossible about in the stands. Like, can I let my child make mistakes and be okay with that? Um, it feels impossible for me to let them struggle or to trust that they'll find the way to figure out the situation without me fixing it. So it feels impossible to fully let go of the outcome and let your child be autonomous. But what's possible today becomes possible with practice. So what might be most possible for you when you're watching the game is to, you know, focus on staying calm when they mess up. When you see them make a mistake, taking a deep breath, trusting that the coach will handle it, trusting that they will handle it and that they will bounce back from it. Um, Letting your child lead the conversation after games. If you can't make a game, instead of saying, "Did you win?" It's more about like, "How did it go? How did you do? What did you learn?" And if you are at the game, and instead of just imparting all of your feedback on them, you know, ask them to share, "Hey, you ready to share with me about how the game went?" And if they're not ready in that moment, fair enough. Maybe they want to share a little bit later. And respectfully ask, as you share with me, would you like my feedback? Would you like me to celebrate this with you? Or would you just like me to listen? And as you do those most possible things, the less possible things become relevant and happen. So now you're able to sit silently in the stands without coaching from the sidelines and yelling, or you're able to cheer for your child and their team's effort versus just them winning. And you allow space for them to handle their own challenges. And as they handle their own challenges, they become more resilient. And it's all about moving from control to influence. So this doesn't mean that you stop caring about them. It means that you're letting them build the skills they'll need when you're not there. And as we become more resilient and as we grow, it doesn't happen in a straight line. So some things we go from 0 to 60 and we grow, boom, those things do happen. But as a general rule, the majority of things happen in this zigzag type line. So it's like thinking about if you've ever faced anything that's tough, um, you handle it the first time and it seems so hard to have a difficult conversation or to push through your anxiety, and then you handle it the second time, then you handle it the third time, and wait a minute, now I have some tools on how to handle the anxiety that comes up or the challenges that I'm facing. And as I handle these things, it becomes easier and easier to handle them over time. So you bounce back stronger and stronger. And the more resilient you come, the shallower the lows are. The challenges are still going to come, but they won't hit you as hard and you'll recover faster. So little by little, you'll see the growth. Even though you've grown immensely over, the summer when you had practice or over the whole season as a whole on the lacrosse team. The point is, you have to look back and go, wow, I'm still struggling at certain things. I'm never going to be perfect. I'm going to still have challenges, but man, I'm really able to handle these challenges a lot better than I was at the beginning of the season. Just like you're able to shoot a better shot or hit a better ball than you were at the beginning of the season. So it's really about how you rise every time and what you learn from it. And each setback is really a chance to grow. You gain more confidence, you become stronger, and you just prepare for the next challenge. So it's really proof that you're becoming stronger and stronger and not worrying so much when you do dip, because the dip isn't going to be as low as it was in the past when you didn't have the skills. And one of the skills that's most important is to have powerful thoughts. So it all starts with what's in your head, what you believe, what you think, what you feel. So we really create our own reality and we speak this into existence. So you have a choice to speak and think in a way that brings you closer to your goals or away from your goals. So you may be doing well out on the court and, scoring baskets, but then you start to be like, I can't do this. It's too hard, or I give up. Something in you shifts and it starts to affect your game. And then, maybe, something somebody said got you off track, or, kind of got into your mindset, and you start practicing the opposite of what a powerful thought is. And you have these less than powerful thoughts. It starts to, shift your reality, and you have the choice in how you're going to think and the choice in what you're going to speak to others or speak to yourself. And that whole self-talk and talk to others, one is going to give you what you want in your life, which if the challenge comes up, you have to meet that challenge with affirmations, positive things about yourself, about others, and also evidence of those thoughts. So a powerful thought of I can do this. Let's just say it's I can get onto base and I can hit a single. Just as simple as that. So you may not believe in yourself. And what you have to do is you have to start coming up with evidence as to why. Well, I did it, in the last game. I was able to learn a new way to hold the bat. And now I have a breathing technique that I use. And guess what? The game before that, I also got a single too. And hey, you know what? I also got a triple, 2 games ago. So like all this evidence that you are able to hit. And guess what? When I was in the cages, I was looking really good and I, hit a faster ball than I've ever hit before. So you have all this evidence stacking up that you can do it. Your mind wants you to go back to I can't do it for some reason subconsciously. So now how are we rewiring that? We're rewiring that to say I can do it by one, keep saying we can do it, and two, stacking up evidence as to, well, I've done this in the past. What makes me think I can't do this again? And so what we say to ourselves really matters. And we really have to challenge these untrue thoughts, because if it doesn't feel good, the thought isn't true. So I failed isn't true. What's true is I learned something new. I give up isn't what you're doing or what you're feeling or what's best for you or what's powerful. It's I'll try it a different way. So this is very something we need to do in the moment, are these mindset shifts, but we also need to do this on a regular basis, even when we are having a good day or a good game, because this is how we want our subconscious to think consistently, because ultimately you cannot think two thoughts at the same time. So if I'm thinking I can do this, that's what's going to happen. And I can do this may not look like a home run. It may not look like scoring the winning basket. It may not look like, you know, scoring the winning goal in a soccer game, but maybe you were able to steal the ball at one point or play really good defense, or you passed the ball to someone and you gave an assist, or maybe you were the person on the bench that cheered and one of your teammates heard it and that gave them a boost of confidence and then they scored. So it doesn't have to be that you're the star of the game, but you do play a role in the projection of what's going to happen with that game, with that team, and you're a leader in some respect or another because you're leading the team and you're leading them in a direction that is going to help you to grow and help the rest of the team to grow. And I really like to share this picture all about growth mindset. So, really, if the people that were asked to, at the three boxes at the top, the people were asked to draw a self-portrait. So essentially, do we think that they thought that they were good artists? No, they probably didn't think they were good artists, that they could do a self-portrait whatsoever. And what you see there isn't something terrible, but it's definitely not like something that they're going to hang in a museum. And what happened was they had an art teacher that spent 5 days with them, giving them instruction, and they produced the pictures at the bottom after 5 days. So some days we're not feeling confident in ourselves. Some days we're trying to do our affirmations, our mindset work. We've done all the practices that we need to go to. We have the skills, but we're just not feeling it. And we're human. And that's where coaches come in. So this woman or man that was a teacher coached and trained these people to know how to do a self-portrait with more skill than they did at the beginning of the week. So sometimes we need to lean on our coaches. We need to lean on these people to support us through rough times. And it could be a rough few minutes, or it could be a rough day, it could be a rough season. There's times when we just have slumps. And that's where our coaches come in. That's where our leaders on our team come in. And that's, there's times where we just need to lean on them and we need to be okay with reaching out for help and being like, look, I know I'm good at this sport. I know I'm a good athlete, but like, I'm just not hacking it right now. I need your support. And that's fair enough. And that's what they're there for. So really, if I were to share, about myself, as I shared with the story with you in the beginning about my experience with specifically with basketball, that's kind of shaped why I've created the business I've created. It's one of the reasons. And the House of Rise is my business of coaching, teens, families, young adults. And what it stands for is resiliency, identity, self-confidence, and emotional intelligence. And these are the things that we work on and build strength in when we work together. And I've created an athlete playbook that has all of the skills, the strategies that I use with my clients. And I wanted to share that with everyone. So if you're watching this video and it's on replay or it's on YouTube, or you're very interested in this playbook, please let me know. Send me a message. My name is Dr. Carla Couturier. I'm sure, you haven't like written down all the notes and you want to hear some of the things I said again, or you would like a specific strategy outline. That's what this playbook is for. So send me a message on Facebook, send me a message on Instagram, Dr. Carla Couturier, and ask me for my athlete's playbook and I'll send that over to you. I would love to share it with you because I know there's so many things in there that I wish I used when I was a teenager, when I was playing soccer, when I was playing softball, when I was playing basketball. And I didn't have these skills. I didn't have these strategies. And I want you to have those strategies too. And parents, frankly, a lot of the strategies that I might be using with teens, I'm still using today as an adult. And you can use as well in the things that you're handling as an adult still in connection with your child or just on your own. So I would love to share this with you. Please reach out. And thank you so much. I appreciate your time.